Today on the show, we've been selected by a special lottery to serve as the border security agents in the glorious country of Arstotzka. Welcome to Lore Party, the podcast that explores the stories, characters, and universes behind some of your favorite video games. I'm Jaden.
And I'm Lawerence.
And today we're going to talk about Papers, Please, the ultimate paper shuffling simulator game.
Of complete and utter bullshit.
Oh, anarchy is what that game is.
Yeah, and a lot of, rules and, like I said, bullshit.
Well, not only does it have a lot of rules, but it has a lot of choices that you end up making in the game. Some rough choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of craziness in this one, like everything from assisting a terrorist organization to dealing with your boss to catching convicted felons and detaining people. So we're going to go over what we believe our top 5 morality issues in the game are and kind of see where we sync up. So I'm going to start this off. My number 5 morality issue in Papers, Please was actually stealing passports.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was. You'd have to go in and you'd take someone's passport and you were basically going to give it to someone in this terrorist organization that looked like this person so they could gain entry to this country. And, stealing a passport is whatever. Here at the Lore Party, we condone the cool crime of stealing passports.
Cool crime of stealing passports.
It's like stealing a passport doesn't seem that bad because, it really doesn't affect you until you go back to work the next day and you get the newspaper and you see that the person you let in has gone through and started kind of killing government officials.
Which I love that aspect of the game is that it will tell you what your choices affected immediately with that little symbol that they put on the paper in the morning. It's almost like you did this.
And I always love how it's on your newspaper. They're like, this guy's getting this copy of the newspaper. Let's stamp it.
It's like, this one's for you, pal.
Right, and it's like this is so it's like you get that visual of, hey, this terrible thing that happened, you had a really big hand in it.
And I feel like they're not even being like, you need to think about the terrorists, or just like, good job, bud, see?
Right.
12 dead officials, that's on you. Isn't it great?
Liberation.
All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is letting the person's wife through the border gate who doesn't have the proper documentation.
That was day what, 2?
Yeah, that was one of the earlier things that you had to do in this. This guy comes through and he's just like, okay, he has the right documentation, and he tells you to be kind to his wife. And then his wife comes and she doesn't have the entry pass. And so you're like, okay, nope, denied. And then she just tells you if I have to go back to this country, they'll kill me. And you're like, oh, fuck. Which
you and I were talking about this before, but I think you and I had the same cold reaction to it. We're just like, just get the paperwork, lady.
Right. And
your husband got it. What's wrong with you?
Right. I don't know how he got it and then didn't get his wife that paperwork, or how they decided which one of them was getting this form.
If she's going to die, she gets the paperwork. I'm just saying.
Right. And then the fact that she tells you after you hit it with the big red stamp that you can't fix, and I'm like, well, I could have taken one citation.
Well, I think my favorite part about that too is that the husband doesn't come back. He just goes in.
Yeah,
he's not like, I guess I'll stay with my wife. He's like, oh, well, see ya.
Right. You can always find a new wife, apparently.
In the glorious country of Arstotzka, we have a need for husbands.
Right. My God. So my number 3 choice is the Man in Red, which is basically we go back to this terrorist organization, and after they start getting some traction in this country, and they're pretty much just messing things up, and they're getting through, and we can't figure out why. The government of Arstotzka hires an assassin known as the Man in Red, even though he's the only red background character. So you can he's probably wearing a full red suit, a very stylish assassin. And he's coming in to kill the members of this terrorist organization, pretty much. He's a top.
Which, I don't get how the government needs an assassin to come in. It's you're the government, just, do the whole searching the houses and shooting everybody inside type situation.
Especially when you have armed border guards. It's like, well, whatever. Now we have to let in. But I like how it's still official. Like, we hire an assassin, and he still has to go through all of the proper channels to get in the company.
Border security. He doesn't like get flown in on a private plane. It's like the guy's wearing a nice fancy red suit, and it's like, no, you still have to
wait in line too. He doesn't even get to go to the front. But the reason why this kind of ranked a little bit higher on the list for me was because this was the first time that you were actually asked to do something that was like, you would see the effects immediately.
Yeah.
So like, they wanted you to kill this guy, and basically their plan was, we're going to create a distraction at the border, and by this point you have this standard issue like defense gun, and so they want you in the like mayhem that's going on to fire into the crowd of people and hit the man in red. And they also tell you that if you do this, they're going to know that, you're assisting terrorists now, and you're going to go to jail. But it's for the good of the country and the country's liberation, which kind of goes back to the theme of, you're just a tool in this game. Like, that everybody uses, no matter where no matter where you align yourself, you're always being used by someone.
Which is very cool because, 9 times out of 10 when you're playing video games, you're always the dude. You're the guy or the girl. You're the ultimate hero. This game, there's like, no, dude, we got like 12 of you everywhere. Like, we don't really give a shit whether you live or die. We need you to kill this red guy.
Yep, you're faceless, you're nameless, and they do a good job of constantly reminding you that there's always someone that can replace you. And so now we're getting into the really kind of crazy issues. So my next one is, you're letting this guy into the country who you suspect has committed a murder. He's killed someone's child. And the reason why you're letting him into this country is because the father of that child has asked you to do that so he can make them suffer.
Yeah, he says that, I will make them suffer. And you're like, oh.
And then to, kind of like really hit home hard, he gives you a picture of his daughter that this guy murdered. So there's like a few paths that you can go down. You can give him the picture of the daughter, and when you give him the picture of the daughter, he doesn't say anything, but he runs away. Which it's frightening and funny at the same time, because you have to play this game to understand that part. It's just a very odd moment.
Anytime the dialogue comes up, it wastes precious time. I noticed that. I was on my latest playthrough. I was like, anytime your guy talks to someone, there's no button to like speed along the process. So you're literally, and this game's time scale is weird. So it's like talking to someone literally takes hours out of the day.
Yes, it's like that coworker that doesn't do shit, and they just stand there and talk to you and talk to you and talk to you.
And you're like, how are you still employed?
Right.
What? How? Get out of here. Go.
And you're the one that's affected by it, which is the weird part. For this morality issue, when if you give him the picture and the guy runs away, the father kind of gets mad at you when he comes back, because he's like, hey, why didn't you let this person through? I was going to, take revenge.
Get my revenge.
And so the next thing you can do is just let the guy through. He has the proper documentation, and you just stamp it and send him on his way to be killed.
Yep.
And that's or you can deny him, and once again, the father is going to get mad. So it's weird because you're not directly, doing anything to him, but you're sending a man to his own death. So you're essentially like involved, you're an accomplice to murder.
Well, the best part to me is that this game likes to fuck with you because you didn't have to worry about it. He had all the proper documentation.
Right.
You could have just sent him on his way, but the game has like, hey, we're going to kill this guy and it'll be your fault. And don't you get the newspaper afterwards? And it says like, man murdered?
Yeah, because they give you the hint to it during the day, and they're like, yeah, baby murderer, child murderer that was let go might make his way through Arstotzka border. And then you see the dad, and then he hits you with the super guilt trip sob story, and then is throws on top of that, yeah, let this guy through because I'm just gonna kill him. So it's oh, I feel sorry for you. Okay.
I don't.
A lot of I think more playthroughs than not, I give him the picture so he runs away, which there's been a few times where I've let that guy kind of get what was coming to him.
I'll be honest, I usually let him get what's coming to him. I'm just like, I didn't kill the kid.
All right, and
this isn't my fault.
And hey, and it's still not the worst thing that you do in this game by far.
No.
And so that brings me to my number one morality issue. It's actually poisoning somebody.
Hey, the poison.
Poisoning a government official for a terrorist organization. And this isn't just like your standard poison, I guess. This is like your
super duper deadly
like
evil poison.
North Korean neurotoxin type
Yeah.
deal. They give it to you in this folded paper package, and there's instructions on how to open it properly, and the poison rests on this piece of plastic, and you have to press it into the person's passport. And they die maybe a second after that.
Yep.
As soon as they pretty much get out of your booth, they walk a little bit, and then they die. The reason why this is number one is because, like, this, once again, you're murdering somebody, but to take it a step further, when this person dies, they
pass.
barf.
Yeah, they fall over.
Yeah, pass out right on the ground. There's a security guard that runs over to see if they're okay, and then when he makes contact with this person, he also dies. So now you've murdered an innocent person that was just trying to help someone. So
Yeah.
you've gone from like we were talking about vigilante justice to just being like a stone cold murderer.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not the guy who you help like reunite with his wife?
Yes.
Like you kill him.
Yeah, it was somebody who was actually really nice to you because I'm pretty sure he came from the same area that you did, and he was the only nice person that you really encounter in the story.
Oh gosh. Well, those were some great top 5 lists.
Oh, thank you. Now let's hear yours and see how they stack against my ultimate list.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to bring it. My number 5, and this one was a little interesting for me. It was on like your second or third day, you're stamping your passports like normal, going through the day, and then a woman comes up and she slips you a ticket to a brothel. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe I'll use this one day. By the way, you don't, which kind of annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah.
Stressed out with your whole deal with your family. You might go to a brothel every once in a while,
No
Let some
after
steam.
work fun. But then with this game, I don't think you can afford it anyway.
Oh, probably not. But yeah, she slips you that, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. And this is like the second or third time I got one of these tickets, so I just put it over on the pile. And then she slips me a note, and she goes, please help me. I'm like, what? Huh? And she runs before I could say anything. So I open up the note, and she goes, there's a guy behind me who I think is going to kidnap me and make me work at a brothel. And I'm like, well, you just handed me a ticket, so I think yes.
Yeah, and it's her and her sister too.
Oh, yeah, her sister as well. And she's like right behind her. Which one time I denied the sister just for fun, and then I was like, but yeah, so the guy comes up, and he's got all the proper documentation. Like, he's totally good. And at this point, you're just learning how to play the game, and the guy even slips you I think he slips you a $5 bill, too.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And sometimes if you show him the note, he's like, that bitch.
Yeah, and he talks about, like, breaking her in half.
But yeah, it's just a weird thing where I'm like, I definitely don't want the sex trafficking thing, because that's bad. But also, I've got a wife at home who apparently can't work. I got a kid at home who wants a brand new crayon set for his birthday.
Oh, okay.
That'll cost me $25
Same as your rent.
That is the exact same price as my fucking rent. But yeah, that was my number 5. I was just like, no, that sex trafficker doesn't get through.
And it's funny because if you don't confront him and you deny him, you're like, oh shit, that's the guy. You actually get a citation.
Yeah.
Papers, please.
Let's see, what was my number 4? Okay, so my number 4 made an appearance on your list. It was letting the wife through. Because, again, a lot of mine are early game stuff, because that was a really difficult choice, at least for me. I was like, I will be responsible for this woman's death. But at the same time, I need to feed my family.
Hey, $5 is $5.
$5 is $5, man. But yeah, I just had to I 9 times out of 10, I let the wife through, because I was like, I want her to be happy, and like I want us to be okay. But then at the same time, I'm like, if it really, honestly, 9 times out of 10, it depends on how many citations I have on my plate in front of me. My number 3, for me, was stealing the passport.
Number 3.
Yeah, and I'll give you a reason why. At this point, I've been playing for a while, and they're like, we just need your help with this one little teeny tiny thing. And I was like, okay, you just steal passport. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that? What? Why? You really feel like an abused, like, like spouse in this game a lot of times, like or abuse like girlfriend or boyfriend because you're just like what? We just need you to do one more thing, baby, and all be okay. And you're like, okay, what? What do you need? I need you to commit a felony. What?
Get that. Hey, you might get a giant bag of money out of it too.
Yeah, that's true. That the government will then take and make me burn. Because apparently your neighbors are fucking snitches in this game, and they're like, you have eaten food. What is going on here? But yeah, I just couldn't. I don't know, man. The passport thing was just because I didn't know what they were going to use it for. That was my big thing. I was like, what are you going to do? And then the one time I did it, I get a fucking newspaper on my desk the next morning that's like 4 dead, and like with the little symbol on it, it's like, good job, pal. I'm like, ah.
See, I'm like, I've poisoned someone at this point and considered shooting a man in a crowd. So I'm like, I'll steal your documentation, you bastards. I've seen some things now.
My number 2, and this one's, it's a joke, but it's not. The second most difficult decision that I had in this game was I didn't know whether or not I should let Georgie through.
Oh, God damn it.
Because, okay, so when you start the game, you meet a guy who just walks up to your booth and just goes, hello, yes, hello. And you're like, who are you? And you're like, where's your passport? He just goes, oh, no, I don't need passport. I get let in. Everybody get let in. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ. And you can't even deny him because he doesn't have a passport.
Every time that guy comes through, it's like zanier and zanier. And I don't believe there's ever a good time. Like he's always doing something that's kind of foul.
Yeah.
And the weird part of the game is when he starts having the proper documentation, and I'm like, all right, what can I bust you on now? Like, how can I detain you this time?
It's like, what? Yeah, that was the moment, like the 3rd or 4th time he shows up and he has everything right, and I'm like, no, I don't believe you. Where is it? Where's the misrep? This motherfucker shows up with a passport that he drew himself.
With crayon.
With crayon.
From a country that doesn't exist.
It was so janky, and like he drew a self-portrait of himself.
Yeah, and it was like, I think it was like Cobristan, and I'm like, that's not a real country. With all the weird names of countries in this game, I'm like, Cobristan is not a real country.
And he just shrugs it off. He doesn't. It's not like he's like, oh man, he's just like, oh, you caught me. Okay, well I come back tomorrow. See you later.
There are like 8 countries in this game too, and he didn't pick any of those.
No, there's very clear countries that you could be like, oh, I'm from this one. He just doesn't.
No, I'm from Cobristan. That's my story.
I love him so much. There's literally like, and that's my big problem is that I know it's breaking the game. Like he serves a purpose. So I know I'm breaking the game anytime I just let him through no problem. So it's like my own brain's being like, no, this isn't the same. You gotta play it again.
And what I like about him is I feel like he kind of gives you like that human quality, because besides the guard that you murder or can murder,
you can't. No, you do. Like I know there's a way to not murder him, but like
most of the time that guy's hitting the grave.
Yeah.
Early. But he's like the one person that no matter what you do, they're still always kind. Like they're never insulting.
Yep.
They never get upset. They're never rushing you. He's just always kind. And even at the end of the game, or like towards, one of the endings of the game, he's just like, hey, this country's going to shit. I don't think I'm going to be here much longer. You should get out too. Here's some money. I'm like, damn, dude, money? After all the times I've detained you, and you've probably been like beaten and tortured and then like dumped out of this country, only to come back and get the same thing over and over.
I was gonna say, like, I've been through customs once or twice coming back to America, and it's like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, I would not, if I had to see the same guy over and over again and he just kept denying me, I wouldn't be friendly to this person. I would be very upset with this person.
No, you just gave him like the Monday treatment every single time he came through.
The Monday treatment.
It was so bad. I was like, man, I don't have time for your shit, man. I would like we were talking about before. I would just detain him for no reason. Yeah. And I'd be like, you're probably crooked. I started to profile this guy. It got that bad. I was like, it's you. Deny.
Just leave. I don't care. You go. My number 1
Drum roll, please.
It is actually killing the not killing the assassin with the gun, with the poison.
Ah.
Or I guess he's not an assassin. I don't know what the guy you're...
He's a government official.
That's what he is, a government official. Excuse me. I wrote kill assassin on my paper, and I'm like, that's not what I meant to say at all. That part for me is really freaky because that's not like me taking direct action like it is when you're killing the assassin with the gun. Because that's like, I'm acknowledging what I'm doing and I'm taking a stand openly. This was like a cowardly attack using poison.
Oh, God. Super poison.
Super poison. And like, I already wasn't feeling good about it my first playthrough. I did it, and then the guard friend died after I had reloaded a save to bring him back because I felt so bad about killing him the first time.
Hey, they always say, don't help people. And
yeah.
This is why. No.
This is why. Yeah, this made me a more bitter person after playing this game.
Because the poison is basic. It seems like it's some like weird like neurotoxin anthrax on crack.
Yeah.
Because like there's a skull and crossbones on the package.
That's never good. You. The guy's literally like, here, he slides it in. And you're like, that's not good. I don't want that.
That's like that old timey poison too. That just like there's no fix for this.
That's on the shelf next to the bomb with a fuse on it.
Right.
In terms of old timey weapons.
It's like I needed to put something on here. I put skull and crossbones. So like, watch out, motherfucker. Yeah. I don't even know if you should be holding this paper.
Yeah, I was just like, what? What if I touch this?
Right, after it killed 2 people, I was just like, well, let me put that package back on the desk here.
And over here. There we go. And of course, this didn't come when my boss showed up, because I would love to just poison that guy who's like, you are the worst person I've ever met.
And I believe that it also makes people sick when they take they mentioned something in the paper about people got sick in the hospital or some shit.
Oh my god, really?
So,
God, yeah, no.
It's just it's a pretty like fucking powerful poison in like a gum wrapper sized package.
Which, and again, the worst part about this game is that like you could outright refuse to help these terrorists, but they still win anyways.
Yeah.
And then you get in trouble for not helping them.
Yeah. And like they keep giving you chances, but I think when it comes time to liberate the country, you don't
get the chance then.
And then I think you go to jail.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much all bad roads end up you in jail.
Is there a good ending to this game?
I'm pretty sure you like get some part you can partake in, like the liberation, I think is one of the however many endings. So if they bust through the wall, when they break down the wall at the end, if you attack the soldiers instead of the terrorists, then they're like, hey, buddy. But if you accidentally shoot both, like I did, then that's going to be a real quick ticket to labor.
I'm maintaining my neutrality, shoots everyone.
Yeah, I'm just like Switzerland. But that'll end you in the work camp real quick. So that was a good list.
Yeah, we had some similarities there.
Yeah, I appreciated some of those.
Listen, Georgie is that boy's got a special place in my heart, and he's always gonna be. If we ever do any top 5, if we ever do a top 10 like characters in general list, he's probably gonna be up there, just because I just love his optimism. He's just a happy guy.
I appreciate that we both agree that poisoning people is pretty bad.
Yeah, no.
It's a good stance to have.
It's a rough stance.
Yeah, it's like don't poison.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining us today on the Lore Party Podcast.
Yes, and make sure that you check us out on our website at loreparty.com and on Twitter at lore_party, because someone stole at Lore Party.
Yep. Thank you so much for listening to us. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.